In dancing, failure is data. My vision is how to bring dance into people's life, and life is meant to be lived. Life is now. It's happening now.
Hi, Marija.
Hi.
This is Before the Lights Gone. And I always like to start a podcast with not actually asking you who you are today, but who you were 10 years from now. So who was Marija before the present moment?
Yes, 10 years ago, I was a professional ballerina in the Croatian National Theatre. And then I got injured and moved to Denmark. And then my journey in Denmark started with starting from the bottom, taking random jobs that I could find. And then now I work in a catering company like a manager.
Let's start from here. I think there is a lot of, nice stories about your career as a ballerina, right? How was that period? If you look back, was there anything that you in particular were trying to figure it out, or was any tension in that period?
My journey as a ballerina started when I was very young, at 8 years old. I just wanted to dance, and then slowly, because the school was from start, it was very professional. So the environment, of course, immediately gives you a goal where you're going, and the goal is to dance in theater, in a national theater. So that was constantly on my mind, and I was just like naturally, because I'm in the school, I was just doing the steps towards that. But what I can see right now in my life, I had a dream 10 years ago, and that dream at that time looked silly because it was too big for me and it was very unreachable at that time. And I just realized recently that after that moment that I had that dream, I started to go on a journey where I started to collect different puzzles to come now in this moment where I feel that that dream is almost as a next logical step. But at that time, I didn't see it like that, because at that time I broke my leg and then everything looked like it's falling apart. And then I just have to go do random jobs, go have random experience. Now I can see that I had to work in a hotel to know in a first-hand experience how people live in a hotel, how people feel in a hotel. And as a cleaner, you have direct experience, you can see how people experience service. And then later, when I joined the startup in the service industry, the catering, I was connected to the founder of that startup. So we co-created a lot of things. And I feel like each thing that looked like she's just doing random jobs, just going around. Now I can see that all those puzzles were for me to create this bigger picture, my dream that I have right now.
I think it's a really nice experience to start as a professional ballerina. You have a lot of rigorosity, and then you have a lot of trainings, and then you are kind of boxed. And most of the time, goals are set from outside of your power. This success definition that you have 10 years ago somehow changed. Did this definition change over time or not?
It did on a personal level, because I think in my story, ballet was for me, but it was also co-creation of pleasing my teacher, my mentors, and also my parents, which I feel now what's changed is that I have more focus and maturity to explore what only I want and what makes me happy. Because as a child, I was not pushed in a ballet, but yes, it was environment that was created for me, and I wanted to be there. Of course, I was the one who is lifting the leg and doing all the muscle work. But I feel now it goes even deeper than that, than just achieving dancing in a theater.
Let's talk about your dream, right? What do you want to do? What is exactly your vision that inspires you? That inspired you 10 years ago, but now you kind of see the pieces together better than that.
My vision is how to bring dance into people's life and connect that with longevity, with quality of life. That dance is not only professional or like just to have fun. there is also one in between area where dance is used as beneficial for the body, so that it's not completely loose and that it's not completely rigid. So there's one middle space where dance is good for you. Dance is good for your muscles, for your bones, for your brain development, or like preventing brain diseases. So I would like to bring that to people, grown-ups, and then also elderly people. Of course, children, but I feel that children already have that space, but the adults need also to come back to their body, enjoy the fun and the music and everything, but also take care of their body through the dance.
I'm really curious, when you started to think about more about, I think I have to do something, and how did it feel?
I think it was slowly building up to that, because I felt, as I said at one point, that I left the dream and then I just went to survival mode and just surviving. Instead of, at that moment, I couldn't even see it as like I'm collecting the puzzles. Also, for example, in Corona, I just didn't know what to do. And then I started to work on my mental health, and I started to read every book on the planet about how to be good to myself emotionally, but also physically. So that also was another puzzle that I collected. And then after that, like just recently, I was talking to my colleague, and he was telling me what is your interest, what kind of job that he can help me to find. And then he asked me, but what is your dream? And then I just jokingly said, I had one dream long time ago. And then I said it out loud, and he said, I just last year I was looking for that and I couldn't find something like that. So in me it clicked, okay, there's people already searching for something like that. So this could actually be real. So it's a little connections of like when you're open to hear stuff also, when you open yourself to share your ideas, to say it out loud, to dare to say it out loud, even if you maybe sound silly to yourself, of course. And then someone said, oh yeah, that's a very good idea. I actually was looking for something like that.
What do you think in this? Because so one of the things that I like having this conversation on my podcast is that, people are not, they don't have a one day they say, okay, I want to be entrepreneur. Like most of the time they have a journey, they have some experience, and this experience shape their vision about the world, and then they start to try to build something, right? And in a sense or another, I can sense that it's also from the same for you. But the second reason I started a podcast is that sometimes there are like some common challenges, fears, or maybe something that you think at this stage it's a bit harder than you expected, or things are easier maybe than you expected. Could you share a bit of that, how you manage?
I still didn't try completely throwing myself into the actually opening the, this is still the idea, this is still very on the verge to jump. I still need to jump into it. And I know that a lot of challenging things are waiting for me. I mean, in my eyes, of course, I can't even predict what kind of challenges I'm going to have. But in this moment, why I feel more brave to do it is because I feel I already surrounded myself with a lot of solutions, with the people that already did an open company. Or like, for example, I got invited to teach ballet to FOF Copenhagen, to elderly people. So I already have directly connection and experience. I already started actually. It's just not my company, but I already stepped into the, let's say, market or where I'm going. So I'm still not there to tell you how I deal with the challenges. I think that's something that is waiting for me. And I am excited and terrified. Yeah.
I think choosing also to talk about opening this podcast is a challenge in of itself. I'm really grateful you wanted to do it, because I think it's uncomfortable. I was having a discussion with one of our colleagues from Tech Barbecue, and he said that takes courage and guts to take an idea to the point where it might die, because sometimes I think that's the scariest moment, right? You have an idea, and what if it's not working? But I think the story, it's a bit more about, what if I have to tweak a little bit? What if I have to, maybe this is not the exact idea, but maybe this is something that I can, transform in something else. I was also wanted to talk a bit about, and maybe you can have some reflection from your sports career, but how you see failure. How it feels to you? How do you see that?
In dancing, failure is data, because if you go into the period and then you fall to the right, you're like, oh, okay, I just need to go more left. It's literally that. It's literally just learning your body, your connection to the dance, learning the dance. So it's actually very positive. How else are you going to get to one period or two period if you don't know exactly is it right or left your body? You need to be so connected to what it means when it's to the right and what it means to the left, because maybe sometimes you want to have it to the right and sometimes you want to have it to the left. So it doesn't have to be that, okay, I learn it and then I throw away this information completely. You keep the information, because sometimes you're like, oh, I want to improvise, and then fall on purpose. So it's actually very beneficial and it's a goal in this kind of professions.
This is really nice. I think I haven't heard this like exactly story that you really need failure actually to learn. And this is, I think it's quite right. And how do you think this kind of lesson will help you in your next adventure?
Yes, I think failure is definitely something, there's just a normal process. It's just, I really see it like that. I really see it as just like learning. Aha, okay, I don't want this, I want that, I want 5% of this, 10 of that, and then making this like little sculpture of all of it. And some things you cut, some things you throw away, and some things you leave it for later. You got it, but you leave it for later. So I think I can very much use that mindset in this new chapter in my life, how to approach it, and then be open, because for failure, you also need to be open for it, to welcome it. Because if you're rigid, then you're not like a gum. You can't go back.
Stretch.
You actually can't learn. If you're rigid and you don't want to fail, you can't learn. You just snap. That's it. So you have to be open for like welcome, because you're going to bounce back. You're going to bounce back. And you just like, you need to actually trust yourself. And you can only do that if you accept that failure is part of the journey.
And on the final note, I want to talk a bit about, so kind of connect a bit what you already talked in regards to needing a community, like needing people around you to support you. And I think that's one of the important steps in starting a business. And then the second thing you said also that, you want to give something to the people. And I wanted to ask you, how important do you think in a business is this idea of, building something around serving other people's needs? Because this is also something I'm exploring. Have you thought about it, or it was also natural for you to do this because you also work in this environment?
So this comes very natural to me. I'm the oldest of 7 children, so I felt that it's very in my how I started on this planet is this like care for others. So it actually recharges me. Also now when I started to teach ballet, after that I feel like I'm flying. It really recharges me to work with people, help people, but also teaching. I love teaching. I always loved teaching. I was always a person that would read a book and couldn't stop talk about it. I wanted everyone to read that book. I love storytelling. I truly believe that a person, when you meet a person, or like a creation that came from a person, creative creation, I truly believe it can come only from that person. And if that person dies, we will never find that creation in that moment. But a person's creation that it brings to this planet, it's only from that person. And in the way how that person expresses, in the way how that person sees life. So I love this kind of connection to people, because then I feel that something only that person could tell me only in that way.
It's relevant and powerful at the same time. I think, we have unique gifts and unique skills. And I think we all can't replicate a person, right? I think we are so collectively tied together, but at the same time unique. If there is one advice you will give yourself for the younger self now, covering these 10 years already, what would be that?
I would like to say to my younger self, life is meant to be lived. Life is now. It's happening now. It doesn't have to be postponed when something else comes or happens. Like now, even though I'm cleaning a room in a hotel, it is life. It's life, and it still can be alive. It still can be joyful, and it's that's also life. Instead of having resistance to life and what's happening.